So here we are at roughly week 6 of the build. It's the second week in February, and we've just collected the car from Richard Wallace's shop, Sumo Fab in the ACT, brought it down here to Howard Astor's house. As you can see by the engine bay, there's been an enormous amount of fabrication work already completed, and we'll just run through what we have achieved at this point in time. Originally, the sheet metal manifold had a plenum on top with a single throttle body out the side, and we talked earlier about making this car drivable if we needed to aspirated. So what we've done is plasma cut a top plate, O-ring that plate and mounted two 1100 CFM Kinsler throttle bodies. This was originally a single element twin 4 air cleaner, and what we've done is we've machined out of a piece of billet aluminium this oval ring and constructed a plenum off the back of that which goes down and meets the intercooler inside the car. Even though it looks high, we're still able to keep all of this under the bonnet so that we've got that real Pro Street touring look happening. Over here, the original intake for the supercharger was a big hole cut in the bonnet. We've rotated the head unit on the intake pipe or the pressure pipe and pushed that out through the guard, and we've got this massive 6-inch intake system that Richard has done really an amazing job on. Because we've got a bigger pipe in here, the original brace, which braces to the back of the head to stop the blower from flexing, has been moved back. And up the front of the car, obviously a massive aluminium here, which looks amazing. We've got a front header tank, which we will run for when we're racing the vehicle. The radiator has got two Falcon thermo fans mounted in a fully shrouded section across the top of it. And at the front, we spoke about earlier, we wanted to add air conditioning. We've now got a condenser at the front of the car with thermo fans neatly shrouded the whole way around. Even though we've got a lot of potential obstructions in front of the radiator, we've got 4 enormous thermo fans here. And the way that we will set these up is that if the car does, for some reason, run hot, we can have these fans triggered by the computer to turn on automatically, even though the air conditioning is turned off in the car. Moving over to this side, the front tank area here, we had a small section available between the radiator and the inner guard area. We've got a nice breather can there. That will run up to the rocker covers on both sides. And the inner guard section here, that will be the overflow for the radiator. So very busy and very tight in here. What we're doing at the moment is bolting everything together. As the tolerances are so tight between various parts that have been fabricated, there's really no room for error. You can't put the engine in without the head gaskets on, without the valve covers on, because when you go to assemble the engine, 5 or 6 mil can make an enormous difference. Originally, the intake manifold, the sheet metal manifold, had a single top on it, and it had a throttle body mounted out the side of it. So by adding the twin throttle bodies, we took a template of this top plate of the manifold, and we've CNC cut another plate to go on the top of it. Now, it does need finishing off because we had to trace it, and we didn't have a laser drawing of that. So what we did then is we centred the throttle bodies on the air intake system, CNC cut a hole underneath that to match the intake. That's been O-ringed. All the surfaces here have been O-ringed. You'll notice inside here that a rubber O-ring will go around that and it'll run around the inside of the lid there, which will eliminate the need for any gaskets. So if we want to pull the thing apart and put it back together, it's really a case of wiping it, possibly putting a little bit of Vaseline on there and just dropping it all back together again. Originally, this pressure pipe was rotated and the pipe came out and went to the intercooler inside the car. Because we want to get everything under the bonnet, we've rotated this head, and that pressure pipe now comes out under the guard. And rather than have the big unsightly hole in the bonnet, we've constructed this mandrel bend 6-inch intake that's secured to the manifold. In the event that we want to check the spark plugs or leads, we simply undo the tyre bar there. There's 2 bolts there. That lifts out and we've got access to the spark plugs and the plug leads.